Hey everybody, the summer's here, and that means grand tours. That's right, I'm talking cycling. If you know me, you know I'm a comedian, but you also know I'm a huge cycling fan. Not to mention, my buddy and comedian Dan Dowling, international Dan Dowling, is joining me for a little Giro d'Italia recap. We talk it all, the race, some funny stuff. We get off topic a little bit too. We're heating up because we have a big series of tour shows coming up. Speaking of shows, before we get to this episode, if you want to see me doing live stand-up comedy, I will be in Chicago at Zany's June 2nd at 7 p.m. Come check it out. It's a local show. It's going to be fun. It's my first time there too. So let me know if you're coming. On to the show. Me and Dan have watched a week of the Giro d'Italia. We're catching up because we haven't seen each other in a long time. Interesting takes. Where's your head at on the Giro? Because that's what we ask ourselves. Summer's here. It's getting here slowly. We're talking racing. We're talking bike riding. We're talking Pope. The Pope. It's all right here. This is our first show of the series. It's the Giro d'Italia. Stage 9 concluded the day before as we record this, and we have thoughts moving forward. So get ready. Here is me and Dan Dowling talking the Giro d'Italia. All right, everybody, I am here because the cycling season is kicked off. I'm here, Patrick Ramirez, and with me is my cycling friend and comedian friend, Dan Dowling, international Dowling, as I call him.
That's right, and I'm here to say Viva Mexico, cabrón.
Wow, geez, Dan, coming out hot. We haven't spoken in a long time, and you're already at like a 9.
That's right. I'm going all in on my Mexican pride and volume level, evidently.
Yeah. What's the Mexican pride thing? What's your ties to Mexico?
Well, my wife's Mexican, and then the volume level is probably from my mother-in-law. But but now that we got a Mexicano, we got a paisano in the pink jersey, man.
Wow,
I am just
amigo.
all about this.
Wow, just a couple of Mexican dudes hanging out on a Zoom talking.
That's right. I'm taking my
cycling.
wife's. Yeah, you put Padilla, my last name now. I'm taking my wife's name.
Oh, adopting. Wow, how progressive of you, Dad.
If
I'm
you
changing.
no, it's actually I'm being like subvert, like a transgressive macho or something like that.
Oh, wow.
My Mexican wife's name, I somehow become more macho.
Yeah. I'm changing you from international Dowling to progressive Dowling.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Wow, look at this. Well, we're going to talk some comedy. We're going to talk some Giro mainly. We're going to catch up. So, Giro d'Italia started the Grand Tours. We haven't even talked all cycling season on a Zoom anyway. We talked through text and stuff. But the summer has started. It's time for the Grand Tours. The Giro, we just have watched 9 stages of the Giro. I already feel like my head's going to explode. But, you know, these Grand Tours start, we get so locked into like the classics and all those names. And then the Grand Tour starts and it feels like I have to relearn almost all these names again because these are totally different riders in the Giro. So like, first off, how prepared were you for the start of this Giro?
I mean, aside from no, honestly, not prepared. I knew Primoz was running. I was like, my wife asked me, he's like, well, who else is going for the GC? I'm like, well, Tade is not here. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just going to figure this out as we go along. But honestly, what gets me more than anything is, like you said, coming from the classics to the stage races, or to the big Grand Tours, how long ago is the Vuelta at this point? But I'm not really super invested until the Tour usually.
Mm-hmm.
But so now it's like switching all the parts of my brain having to do with, a 3-week stage race, the races within the race, the transfers, the rest days. Because it's like, I love my classics. You just sit down, even if you just, like I'm going to block off 4 hours. You're only watching half of the race that way anyways. But they're like, I'm just getting stoked. I'm going to see the attacks and then we're going to have the win and then we're done. And now it's like, wait a second, all this stuff, the day-to-day stuff, the jerseys, who's going to have like that sprinter's reign we get a lot of times in the Grand Tour for the first couple of days. And then, it's so all this, and then the ever-changing kind of parkour. So it's kind of relearning all that stuff has been more of a challenge, I think, or reacclimating myself almost more than the names, because I don't know. I just refer to everyone as that twink usually. So
Yeah. It's a total lifestyle change because you're like, okay, wait a second, just from a fan standpoint, okay, how am I watching this? Do I have it on, is my HBO package up to date? If
yeah,
it's not, then where am I going to go? Okay, what time do the stages end? Am I going to be at work by the time they end, or can I stay, watch the end, then go to work? Then where am I going to catch up later that afternoon? Am I going to go straight to cycling news? Am I going to go to someone's Instagram? Is anybody doing recaps? Are the same recaps out there? It's like just you have to reset your schedule to take in this tour. And I just as a fan, it's a trial run for the tour. But you're just like, all right, is this how my life is going to be come July? Because let me get ready. And okay, great. It's just the Giro. I'm gonna tune in a week. I'm going to tune in after the first mountain stage. I'm just going to peek at the results, or I'm just going to click the highlights on YouTube. So I can't think everybody is not the same as me as a casual fan. Well, I think we're more than casual fans, but as a fan, the Giro is kind of like, a holiday that you really don't get the day off for. And you're like, oh, pretty good. All right. Not good. Not bad. I'm having fun. When is it? Oh, 3:00. Okay, I'll be there 3 or maybe 3:30,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wrote a bunch of questions down. I'm just going to throw them at you one by one, Dan.
Wait, can I ask you one question? Can I ask you one question though, quick?
Yes.
When you're faced with the choice of, okay, I know there's like 12 kilometers left. I just woke up. Are you like, I'm just going to watch the end and that'll be it for today? Or are you going to be like, no, I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to go back and at some point today, reset it to 80K to go and do that?
It's been different, and I'm going to tell you why. As two people that were formerly Los Angeles residents, the time zone has really messed me up because in LA, everything could be done pretty much by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and then off with your day. Moving to the central time zone, if I roll in somewhere, like it's really not, it's ending past 10 a.m. These Giro stages, and then like a month or two before with the classics, it's ending at about 10 a.m. right at times that you're doing something. If you're going to work, it's really in no man's land. So I am still figuring out my cycling schedule in a central time zone. So what I do is I'm going to watch everything I can till I walk out the door, and then I'm going to try and see how far I can get into the afternoon before I check it. And this is kind of the thing of the Giro is like, I'm not too worried about missing out, but the tour, it's going to be different. I know it is. The Giro, I'm like, I'm like, what was the highlight? I'll watch it. Nah, I'll save it. It just depends on what went down that day. How are you with this time? Cause you moved out of LA too.
Yeah. I think just because, for many of the reasons you said, particularly the time thing, and honestly, and just the reacclimating to cycling fan or to Grand Tour cycling fan is I wake up. I honestly, and it's not even the first thing in my mind. I forget about it, and then I'm like, oh,
me too.
Should I go in for the long haul or just skip to the end? And I make the same decision I make when I'm making love. I just skip to the end.
Wow, you are progressive.
That was my 10-minute setup for one joke.
For our real shows, we're gonna have a button and it just says that was a long way to go. Yeah. We'll have a graphic.
Wait, we can
Dan skips to the end.
The word for like most aggressive rider, like most stupidly ambitious joke.
You don't even go dinner and a movie. You just skip to the end.
That's right.
You watch the movie. Just call me when you're done.
Yeah.
Not bad. Okay, so here's my first question, Dan.
Yeah, do it.
How do you watch the Giro?
You're not a cop, are you?
No, wait. I was going to ask you that. Are you a cop?
Well,
did we ever figure out if that's actually legal, if they have to tell you they're a cop or not? Because I think movies just taught us that. I think that was false.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe at some point there was some nuanced rule that required something like that, but absolutely not. So
what I would do if I was soliciting a prostitute? I would ask just every single prostitute if they were a cop. And then if they're not, then they just go no. And if they are, then you wouldn't get busted for soliciting a prostitute.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
why don't
that's
just why don't just everybody just do that?
yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
All right, we'll
or
cut all this out.
I'll also say, or everyone can maybe try to strive for a healthy, intimate relationship should also be another option.
Let's not go crazy. Dan skips to the end.
So HBO, I had the Max last year, and then I went to turn it on this year, and they're like, "You better update to the Bleacher Report thing or something."
Yeah.
Update your
Did you
subscription.
upgrade?
No, because first of all, I always confuse Bleacher Report with Barstool Sports, and then I get a weird feeling. But then I went to, and they were like, "Go sign into your account on like a desktop computer." And I was like, "This is too much." I pulled out my old VPN, and I got some Aussie stuff coming in. So I got that Aussie feed, which is great. It's a bunch of guys named Simon, and then
every third Aussie is named either Simon or Luke.
I'm convinced. No, that's right. Simon, yeah.
That's all they have.
But yeah, and then relying very heavily on the YouTube highlights. Although they're not super good. The few options for highlights, they're too short. For a Grand Tour, you would need at least 15 minutes of highlights, in my opinion. But so honestly, it's been a mixed bag, and I think this is obviously a little bit more emblematic of the Giro versus Tour thing overall. Giro's giving you you get 70%, of the overall experience, if that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like the broadcast itself might be finding its legs as well, because I listened to the recap. I listened to the Lanterne Rouge recap, and they were saying there's an option to watch it, and they specifically said on Max, there's an option to watch it with multi-screen, where you can get multiple cameras up on one screen, kind of like the NFL Sunday Ticket when you do the multi-view. So that almost same race. So you could watch Group 1, Group 2. I don't know for sure. I'm just trying to figure out what he was describing. But I almost upgraded to the HBO Max package after I heard that.
Figure that out, man.
I'm like you. I have Max. And I was like, oh, great, San Remo. Oh, great. There was, the Liège is on here. But come Grand Tour time, oh, no. It's time to upgrade and pay more to watch the Giro. And I was not willing to go there, Dan Dowling. So I went to the illegal feed, which has been my savior for the past 6.5 years for stuff like that. And it's been pretty consistent. And it's like an English feed. So I think it's Matt Stevens, or I think it's Eurosport England or something. So it's really good commentators that I like listening to. But if I flip it on, when I wake up, there's still over 100 Ks to go. So I'm not paying attention to any of this.
Yeah.
I just have it on in the background like a screensaver, essentially. So we are both in the same camp as not upgrading the HBO. There's way too many. There's no more upgrades.
Can I make an appeal to our viewers?
Yes, you may.
Hey, one guy watching
Skip to the end. Oh, sorry.
Can you send us your HBO Max login info?
Thanks. Oh, I didn't even think of using this show for my own personal gain, but you're ahead of me. Thanks.
Yeah, this is the kind of soliciting I like doing,
Wow. That's a good Domestique podcast host right there.
All back.
Okay, question number 1, how do you watch? We both went illegal stream. Right. Question number 2, Dan, rank the Grand Tours.
Rank the Grand Tours? Oh man. This is personal preference.
Oh yeah.
So objective standards are probably gonna be thrown to the aside, but Tour is number 1. It's everything, it's the big show.
Yeah, no argument there.
So really then it's just, do you like the Volta or the Giro better? And I like the Volta better just because I really like Spain and Spanish culture, and there's something so comforting about the Volta, the late summer, especially when they're in southern Spain. It's really hot. It looks like, there's really no one out too, but it's so peaceful to me. So yeah, I really like the Volta as almost like the after party of the Grand Tour.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna make the counter argument that I think it goes Tour, Giro, Vuelta. I think the Giro gets that extra boost because it is the very first Grand Tour. So as fans, we're like, yeah, all right, Flip, when's it start? Oh, Wednesday, great, I'm there. Who's there? Who's in? Like we get a little bit excited because this is our first taste. This is the appetizer to the summer.
So you
And
like that build up, and as you know,
I
I
think I
like that.
like the build up, and you skip to the end as
I
we've
like that.
determined.
I like that afterglow.
And the Vuelta is like an afterthought, but ironically, the Vuelta ends up being, I mean, in the last few years, like really competitive, and it's
Yeah,
and the Vuelta has so much built in where it's like, remember, a lot of riders would go to the Vuelta in preparation for Worlds, so
right.
you had riders with these multiple objectives in it, and then you had the season ending, so you had riders who were up for a contract the next year, really had these ambitions in the Vuelta that kind of threw this curveball in the dynamic of it all. So I think there's a strong argument for the Vuelta. The hard part of the Vuelta is, I got to say, that late summer, there's some stages in the Vuelta that I'm really glad I'm at home because it looks so disgustingly hot and the courses
Yeah,
look so chaotic and brutal that
yeah,
I'm like, oh, I would not want to do that as a racer. Not that the Giro is easy because we're going to have that snowy stage in the Giro somewhere. It's going to be mountains. It's May. It's going to be rough. So not that the Giro is good for weather, but that's why I gave the Giro a little bit of bump. And there's a little bit of the romance of it being in Italy of cycling.
yeah.
So that's why I bumped the Giro up a tiny bit. But I gotta say, there's very few stages I miss in the Vuelta. I gotta watch them all as well.
I'm going to put it this way. For the Giro, you wear the European style men's bathing suit because you have to. In the
Mm-hmm.
Vuelta, you wear the European style men's bathing suit because you want
I think that was my senior yearbook quote.
to. Yeah.
All right, next question, Dan. Primoz Roglic. Who in popular culture do you think is his comp?
Oh, man.
You can go anywhere. You can go other sports. You can go TV and movies. You can go politics.
Oh, my God.
Okay,
This, like,
I didn't prep you on this. I just threw this at you, so I already thought about it. I'm gonna throw one at you.
I have it, but this got so dark in my head
Oh, you
immediately
have one. Okay, go. Let's hear it.
because I am God, I remember his name, Matthew Perry.
Oh, why Matthew Perry?
Um,
Hmm.
so I'm a sucker for, like, good comedic actors or whatever. And I think I like the kind of stuff that he would be in. And I think he was really good and had so much potential, and but tragically just never lived up to it. And part of it is like completely different because I wish I could think of someone that has the bad luck externally invading their life constantly, which seems to be Primo's thing, versus Matthew Perry. Obviously, a lot of internal struggles and whatnot. But the same thing, it's like, sort of unfulfilled potential in a very tragic way, I guess.
Wow, that's a good point. So I didn't know you were a Matthew Perry guy. So
Oh,
you
I'm
he
at
had the
90s. Yeah, he was very for like a kind of a feat, um, timid but witty, adolescent watching Friends. I
mm,
resonate with Chandler a lot as.
were you a big Fools Rush In guy?
Was that the one with Selma?
Yeah. To
I don't
my knowledge, Matthew Perry was in Fools Rush In, and the was it the whole 9 yards? What was the other movie he was in?
I don't remember exactly. His
I
SNL was epic. I will say that. His film
Good
career might
SNL,
not
yeah,
have
good
landed
SNL
big.
guest,
Um, I'm not
iconic
even gonna.
Friends character.
Yeah, I don't. He did a few movies, but they were nothing really noteworthy.
Right. I think
But I
like
think
feels.
that part of the reason being, he obviously had. I think he could have done something
Hmm.
more.
So you see Roglic as a tragic figure?
A little bit.
Hmm.
Now I'm
Interesting.
questioning all this. I just gave you the first thing that popped into my head. But that
Yeah.
is, I mean, so, and maybe Matthew Perry is not an apt comp or whatever, um, but the element of I think the a little bit of the tragedy definitely is. I mean, you see the guy. He reminds me of or maybe the one answer I should have given was, remember the Bad Luck Brian meme?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. What was that one?
He was
Bad.
some
Yeah, yeah.
goofy grinning kid with a thing, and like you'd always, you put something ridiculous bad luck
Mhm.
scenario, and it would happen to this guy all the time.
Oh, okay. What do you
And
think Primoz Roglic's biggest accomplishment is. Like he won a Grand Tour, right?
Yeah, he did the Vuelta. Did he do it twice?
Yeah, he won the Vuelta a couple times.
And I
Never the
mean,
Giro.
yeah, in that one tour where he up until the very end, he
Right,
was
the Pogacar crowning.
yeah. I mean, that was a really impressive, I think, tour and performance on his part.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, but it does seem like more, yeah, that close but no cigar. I mean, his whole career feels like Wout van Aert's season this year.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what's going on? Something's a little off with this guy.
Yeah, yeah, and again with this Giro, like as the riders, like all their names are being said, I had to remind myself a couple of times, like, oh yeah, Primoz is Red Bull, not Visma.
Yeah,
I had to be like, oh right, he's not on the. There was a couple of times where Wout, like yesterday, was in the move, and I was like, why isn't he helping Primoz? Oh wait, they're not on the same team anymore. Okay, great. I gotta move forward for that. I gotta figure out Primoz is actually on a different team than he was last
Oh,
year.
Dan's got some bullshit. This is some bullshit.
Dan's got
You
some
have a
bullshit.
Red
New
Bull
segment,
team.
everybody.
You can have a Red Bull team and then also have guys with Red Bull helmets that are not part of the Red Bull team.
Oh yeah, Red Bull helmets have infiltrated cycling. Wout's
That
got one. Pidcock's got one.
that's this. It's like you have the New York Yankees, but then certain players on the Dodgers can wear Yankees hats for some reason. It's very confusing.
Red Bull. Who knew Red Bull had such deep pockets?
Dude, I don't know. They they fund a lot.
There's every extreme sports. Red Bull is all over. They're just looking to throw money into cycling. They have a team. They have helmets. That one guy jumped from outer space. Remember a
Yeah,
few years ago? That was like a Red Bull thing.
yeah.
All this
No,
from
they
just
do things
making
we
this
don't
weird,
even.
shitty carbonated drink.
They probably do like submarine racing. Like they're doing shit we don't even know about.
How is this
But and
possible? And how is it that I can't figure out how they are doing this? How did I
especially
get
with their
life so
commitment to
wrong?
quality, all natural ingredients. I mean, that
Yeah.
can't be cheap, right?
Red Bull was like when it first came around and when I was a teenager was pretty gross. Like people didn't like it right away and all of a sudden it's just part of our lives.
Yeah, I think it's the. I don't know.
God, maybe I should have put that in my questions is how did Red Bull become such a deep part of our lives?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to just what is Red Bull, but
What is Red Bull? You know who my Primoz Roglic comp is?
hmm,
Is Eli Manning.
I know.
Just a guy who kind of falls into these situations, performs a lot of the times, but also doesn't perform a lot of the times too. Eli's got the two Super Bowls. I don't think you could say the comp Primos has a Super Bowl. He's got two Vueltas, but I don't know if you would call that a Super Bowl. He's Mr. Paris-Nice. He's a great Grand Tour rider. He seems to have the tragedy of crashing out of, I don't know, 90% of all tours he enters.
Absolutely.
He had his first crash of the year yesterday. So either depending if you're a fan or not, you could say like, okay, he crashed. Now he's ready. Or he crashed and you're like, oh shit, I know how this goes. So I went Eli Manning for my Primoz Roglic comp.
Well, I think that's really fitting because also, I mean, Primoz just really isn't as charismatic as his older brother Tyler.
Yeah.
I mean, that Tyler is doing.
Tyler, Tyler, Tyler Roglic.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's doing Allstate commercials now.
exactly. It's funny.
Next question.
Mhm.
Should we have more of these mini Strada Bianchi stages in the Giro? Because I was on Giro Twitter and watching all the shows. There's a big split if people like these stages in Grand Tours or not. Like the riders, of course, voted they didn't like it. Not surprising. The directors, from a logistical standpoint, don't like it. Fans and the spectacle of it all. I think you have to have these things. Safety wise becomes a question. Support of the riders becomes a question. But we had an awesome stage yesterday. It was really the best stage and it was full of drama. Bernal was great. But where do you stand on these mini stratas or these mini classics that they put into the Grand Tours?
I mean, if as far as I can tell, the roads they race on when they do these things are pretty darn nice roads. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not obscene riding a road bike on these things. Maybe you have a little bit of a wider tire, so it's not like we're gonna send these guys on some single track or something. So like I don't like it when people are like, that's not road racing anymore. It's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like especially if you're in a lot of parts of the world, like you don't have really good roads, like you're racing on kind of crappy roads anyways. So I do like that, and it does add a whole. And we kind of talked about this with the cobbles at the tour last year. It like rewards a different kind of skill set that not all riders have. And for riders that do have that skill, it's kind of a good chance for them to pay off versus, make every tour is decided by this crazy long mountainous climb, and only a handful of people have that kind of skill set. So it's like, it's nice to switch things up a little bit. Asterisks, though, it can be very hard to watch on television. Like, it was so dusty today,
Yeah.
So I feel like they did a better job for the proper Strada Bianca race. And I don't know if conditions were a little bit different or something, or what they did differently, but like, the spectacle's cool, but it doesn't work when you're just looking at a cloud of dust, basically. So
Yeah. Also, like to piggyback on your point, the support aspect of it. When you have a little bit more narrow of a road, you don't have a shoulder. Primoz crashes and gets a flat yesterday, and there's like no team car around, period. There's no teammates around, period. We don't know how well the radios are working. He just has to roll on his flat tire till someone comes up. There's no support, not even from neutral for a long time. And as we see in the GC now, he's 2 minutes down. Was this the decider? If he hadn't got that flat, I think we could safely say he would not be 2 minutes down. So that becomes a question of it. But ultimately, I side on the side, like, I like the idea that we kind of put these classics into a Grand Tour, because there's certain riders that don't ride the classics because they're GC guys. And now we get to see GC guys ride what would be a classic in sort of an abbreviated form. And I think that's really cool. The fact that Pogačar did the classics the last 2 years, that's really awesome. We get to see this carryover. And now if they put it in the Grand Tour, so why not like a little mini Milan San Remo in the Giro d'Italia? Why not a 200K San Remo type of stage, finish on the Via Roma type of thing? Why not a Roubaix in the Tour de France?
We need like a statistician on staff here, like a baseball broadcast team. Mm-hmm. I got to imagine they've had to have at least done like the final climbs of Milan San Remo, so like, and finished in San Remo.
Yeah, good question. Have I ever done the Cipressa and the Poggio in the Giro d'Italia?
Although it is such a kind of a weird residential area that maybe they can't. But
yeah, maybe the permits are too much. It's a once a year thing. Maybe you can't have a bike race finish on the Via Roma in May.
They're high tourist season.
Yeah, maybe it's already double booked. The Via Roma. It's the Festa San Gennaro.
Yeah, Red Bull's having a rollerblading race.
Did we? Red Bull's having a street luge.
Right.
The guy from space is finally touching down.
Yeah,
he's landing in the fountain. Did we talk about this last year during the Tour of Italy? Is it a little weird that there's advertising signs for Italy?
Yeah, we talked about Italy.
We did talk about this. I'm like, isn't that like kind of an ugly American thing where that's like McDonald's putting it?
I always thought it too, but then have you actually been to an Italy yet?
I have never been inside. I know of it, been past it. I want to go though.
And it's like legit, like it's a weird combination of an Italian market with like at least the one I went out with a work lunch. I mean, I wouldn't go there. It was kind of pricey, but we had to go for a work lunch thing in Century City in LA. And it's very high end. There's like different restaurants and within this space, and the wine shop and the cheese shop. And the food was super good. And like, I guess it started by some Italian businessman. So it's like, it strives to be very authentic, like high end Italian dining experience. But I do think the name is freaking ridiculous.
Right. They were like, all right, let's do some brainstorming. Everybody just start throwing out names. What about Italy? Sounds good. All right. See you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to start the finest steakhouse the world's ever seen. What should we call it? How about meat time?
How about a whole lot of meat, everybody? Yeah. I like it. Next question. Mm-hmm. Pidcock, good or bad?
Oh, he's good. I love Pidcock.
In general? In general. Has he been good this season? I guess that's more my question. Is this guy good this year? Because what have we seen from him this year?
He's kind of racing. I feel like he's on the road here. He's racing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, because I think he didn't get the deal and arrangement he wanted with Ineos. and then is on this like their license is like one tier below, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, and that was a big part of him being signed. Is now that team is going to get into these big races because they have
right,
Pidcock. Yeah, and it's a weird name. It's Q36.7 and a half
yeah,
or something.
right. Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, it's another one of those things where they say the name and I'm like, what team is that again?
Yeah.
Oh, right. That was this team last year and they got Pidcock and okay. Yeah.
And so what? So what color are your helmets in? They're Red Bull helmets.
Yeah. And they all have Red Bull helmets, by
Yeah.
the way. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
you
I
think
like
Pidcock's
Pidcock
doing good
because
this year?
um,
What has he done? I'm opposite on this one. Like I don't know what he's done this year besides he won that Alula tour in January
yeah,
and he held Pogacar's wheel for a little bit in Strada.
right.
What happened to him after that?
I don't know. And I mean, honestly, like as a road racer, I feel like he's always been kind of hot and cold. Like what makes Pidcock so special to me is like watching him do cross country races and rip on those, and then also like, well, even if he's not winning, like hanging with these crazy climbing specialists and other specialists on the road, and occasionally winning. So I mean, the overall Tom Pidcock experience is great for me. If he was just another road racer, yeah, he'd be whatever for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a little bit of the sense just thinking this season. I don't think he has a lot to show for himself this season yet.
Well, I mean, it might be that is a good demonstration of why the team structure matters. And if your ego makes you say, "Oh, I don't need this team; I can win on my own," or whatever, you'll find out soon enough that it's not going to be like, yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, Tade didn't have a strong team when he won the Tour the first time and second time." It's like, well, you're not Tade, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's one of the exception to that rule. But I could see Pidcock, being that guy who doesn't need a team. Like he's gonna surf off of someone else's team's
Yeah,
wheels, or
he
he's gonna
does have that
follow.
style. Like Sagan kind of always had that too a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. And he has that. And I think that's a huge part because of his cyclocross and XC racing background where you're making the most out of every situation.
Yeah, I'm also the belief willing to walk back my statement because maybe Pidcock's got the ambitions of the Tour, and this
Yeah.
is the Giro. I'm like, yeah, I didn't have a great spring, but the Tour is what I'm going for. Like, if he gets, like, what would be a Pidcock impressive result for him at the Tour? Fifth, top five overall, top 10.
I mean,
I gotta say, he's never been a great GC guy at any of these tours.
yeah, I mean, I almost see him, if he can do a multiple stage win tour, that's going to be I think that's his ultimate realistic kind of goal.
I could see that. I could see him winning 3 stages of the Tour.
Yeah.
Not being a GC guy, but winning 3 stages. I
I
could
mean,
see
even just
that.
Q is quite a feat, when you're
Hmm.
not like Tadej Pogacar or whatever, who can just pick up some of these later GC stages.
Yeah. If it comes down to a thing where he's out of GC and he's getting in breaks the third week, then I would say like, yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Right.
He's got these GC legs for one day, but GCers are not going to chase him because he's out of GC. I
Right.
don't. I'm a little bit of two heads on when riders do that. Remember when Remco did that in the Vuelta, or was it the Tour? He did something where he was going to try for GC, got killed the first two mountain stages. He's like, okay, now I'm just going for stages. And he's getting in these mega breaks and he's just torturing these poor bastards who are like Division 2 teams because he's like, hey, I'm going to try and get in this 100 kilometer break with you guys. And when it gets down to last 20, I'm just throwing on the jets. And they're like, oh, shit. And then he's
Yeah, like one guy's like, we're going past my old high school. I just want to ride and say hello.
do you mind if we stay together at least till I pass my mom and dad and then
Yeah, seriously.
maybe like pretend to drop me, but it's close.
Right.
Yeah, Pidcock. All right, so TBD
Yeah.
on
TBD
Pidcock.
on the TPD. No, on
Mm-hmm.
the TPC.
All right, moving on. Here's a new segment for you, Dan. This one's called Winners of the Giro So Far. See if you agree or disagree with my winners of the Giro so far. Number 1, Mads Pedersen, winner of the Giro so far.
Is this wait? Oh, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, Chiclamino Jersey stage win. He's doing 30-kilometer poles yesterday. I would not be surprised if somehow, some way he hangs with the leaders on like a mountain stage.
Um, yeah, I could see he does seem to have that weird, like he's getting that. Yeah, like again, the Sagan thing is coming up. That Sagan
Hmm.
peak, like year or two form,
Yeah, it's
where,
a good point.
where
Sagan is a good comp for Mads.
he was, riding in the mountains a lot. But yeah, he's got that crazy thing going where he's a really good sprinter, but doing really well all around. And he's not a young dude either. I mean, he's a vet at this point. So like,
Yeah,
he's
how old is Mads? He's late 20s now, huh?
right. I mean, because he won the worlds.
I think
Like,
it was 21 when he won the Worlds, maybe
oh, was he only
22.
that young? I thought he was a little bit older because I thought he was maybe looking at
I
30.
think it was early 20s, but I mean, that was a number of years ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Do you think Mads finishes this Giro? Say it's going well. Do you think he skips the last week in preparation for the tour? Or
Um,
is like the Ciclamino important enough to him?
I think I think given how well I think he's got to stay in, and given how well he's riding, I mean, if something happens, he falls and breaks his hand or something like that, something that's kind of
Hmm.
repairable, or some kind of ligamental damage where he's like, okay, I could if I ride, it's gonna make it worse. If I rest, I can. But like, you don't want
Okay.
to, like, you don't trade. Well, there's got to be some aphorism of some kind, like bird in the hand worth two in the bush type of thing,
Hmm.
Um, like, yeah, I mean, when he's doing this well and is really has that the whatever the spinner's jersey like in his reasonable sights, like I wouldn't think he would give that up to be like, well, let's go
I
play what if at the tour.
Yeah, we haven't had in this Giro yet the injury pullout yet. Where like someone GC guy gets injured and like okay he's out, or just that one stage where one of the big names is out, or like somebody gets sick. Like the Giro probably has got to have the most number of people who get sick
Right.
because of the weather. It's the earliest part of the season
You
for
were
Grand
telling me
Tour.
you had an issue, you had an injury pullout recently, you said.
Yeah, that was my nickname in high school. Actually, injury pullout.
That's
Turned
right.
out,
Sorry.
and
Yes.
college also, and some of post college. Actually, well into my 30s, Dan.
Yeah. That's what I introduce you as on stage usually.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I'm gonna change my Twitter name, by the way, to that. Next winner of the Giro so far, Isaac Del Toro. I think I already know where you stand on this.
Hell yeah. Oh,
Viva
campeón. Yeah.
Mexico, Isaac Del Toro.
Yeah. Viva Mexico, cabrón. Good damn.
Big stage yesterday for
Yeah.
Del Toro, second to Wout, and that guy he was initiating all the moves. There was that one move where only Wout can go with him. Drops Bernal, drops the little trick guy. Really strong. And if it wasn't for like a few little positioning things, I think he could have won that stage just the same. So
So
all
I
on
would,
board on Del Toro.
100%. Yeah, I'm so excited to have like, yeah, another North American and a Mexican like
Mm-hmm.
competing at this level. Um, there was some
Twink. What
so,
what would you give him on a scale of 1 to 10 on far as his twink status?
oh my God.
He's a rail. He was all rib cage.
El super twink.
Super twink. Wow, sounds like an 11.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so cyclists have gotten, well, they're always skinny, but they've gotten progressively grosser to look at,
Well,
especially when they win and they put their arms up and the only thing you can see is their heart rate strap is the
yeah.
whitest thing on them. You're like, oh my god, these guys are all rib cages. It's
Their belly
disgusting.
buttons are
Twink
neither
status.
innies nor outies. But well, part of it too is like, I mean, 43 years old now, and I look at these guys, and they're like these like little 130-pound cherubs, basically.
Hmm.
Um, but so that just adds to the twink status for me. But yeah, in general, yeah, I mean, also he's only 21. He's still got like, and he looks like he doesn't have his man body yet, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And first, like I don't know if this is his first Grand Tour, but like there's no pressure on him in this Grand Tour.
Right.
It's like you're in the jersey, you're young, ride how you want to ride your race. Like this is an ideal situation. Do you think he's a legitimate threat for this overall win, or do you think someone like his own teammate Ayuso is not going to let this happen?
Well,
Because I
I
think we
think
got a little storm brewing
that
potentially.
for sure is what's going to be the issue here. It's a little Froome Wiggins type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, from
Um,
Wiggins, a little Sepp Vingegaard.
yeah,
A
It's
little Hino Lamond,
Froome Wiggins
a
without
little
the.
Matthew Perry, Matt LeBlanc. Sorry, one too many on that
Ooh.
one.
No, but I would say actually I would put Matthew or Matt LeBlanc, David Schwimmer, because they did have a little tension in those late seasons over Rachel.
Oh
Anyways,
yeah, who ended up with Rachel by the end of Friends?
I don't even remember. We didn't even care at the end of it, anyways. We
No,
were already
I didn't care
laughing
either.
at Chandler and Monica. But
Mm.
yeah, they are Froome and Wiggins without the risk of the grave risk of sunburn.
Yes, that's
That was a
true.
tasty pair. That was a difficult one to watch. So this one, at least, much better
Wow.
looking pair. But yeah, I mean that for me, like I think for sure he has the talent, but it's like UAE's like now got this pretty deep bench of GC guys. It seems like,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I don't know how they thread that needle, and there's already going to be some drama because
Yeah.
he said something like, "Oh, I thought." Did he thought he was towing a Yuso at some point? He said he
Yeah,
couldn't.
he thought Bernal was a Yuso or something, or maybe the other way around. Yesterday, again, just the chaos of yesterday's stage. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt somewhat, but there was a little bit of Ayuso was back. He was there. He was up front. Does he work with Wout in the group or not? Because Ayuso was the GCer. Now he's in the jersey. Then he was given. It's a little confusing to it all. And tomorrow's TT is going to be a good telling stage whether Del Toro has the legs or what. 28
Yeah, it's
kilometers
kind of the
long.
perfect time for a TT, and that's
Yeah. Where do you
probably the
stand on
best part.
TTs? Side note, TTs and Grand Tours. Should they be there? How many? And how
Well,
long till we have the team time trial back?
I mean, I'm not huge on the time trial, frankly. Feels like too much of a roll of the dice. And like, I don't know. But, maybe for like a weird prologue thing, it's kind of fun to see a group roll out in a strange setting. But the TT, like, I'm not going to lie, like, I usually think they're pretty boring unless it's like that rogue, like when it's Primos and Tade or whatever.
Yeah,
Tade.
there's got to be some real stakes. That's
Yeah, but even then, I'm like, I just want to watch the last five guys.
mm-hmm.
But thinking about like this with what happened with Del Toro and Ayuso, and you're like, well, how do we determine what to do? Like, well, this part of the reason I think these TTs exist is they help regulate potential like GCs.
Yeah, it's a built-in decider, and the directors don't have the pressure on themselves. They're like, oh, okay, TT, you go by yourselves anyway.
Right. And it's like, as fans too, if you're like, oh, that was a fluke or this guy got lucky, it's a way to like cement your status sort of within the race with taking away all those externalities, probably.
It's kind of interesting, and this borders on the line of old man Pat Ramirez a little bit. But Del Toro says tomorrow's TT 28.9 kilometers is going to be the longest TT he's ever done.
Oh, wow.
In my day, there were 40K TTs at regular regional races. 50K was like pros were doing 50Ks in the tour. I mean, that was like a long TT was like almost like kind of a rite of passage. You had to do long TTs, and everybody did them. Juniors did 40K TTs. They definitely did 20s and a little above. So the fact that the short TT is kind of become the standard of TT, and 28 is considered long. I think I sound like old man Ramirez now, saying like,
no,
back
I
in
agree.
my day, we rode 40K and we liked it.
I just did a 50K time trial on one of those one wheel things. Red Bull sponsored it.
Oh yeah. Wow, maybe we can pick up Red Bull as our sponsor.
We should.
That'd be nice. Why aren't they selling those Red Bull helmets? I bet they'd sell.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
I think they look cool. Yeah. Okay, next winner of the Giro so far, Gravel Roads. I'm going to give them a winner. I say they're winning this tour. Gravel Roads. I don't even know if we don't have more coming.
No, I think it's great. I think, yeah, they should go all gravel from here on out.
All gravel.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we're in agreement.
It was such a good stage. I mean, okay, crashes and whatnot, but I mean, there's crashes on the road too. So
that's fair. Crashes happen on the road too, and the Primos one, someone crashed in front of them, and
also I felt like people were like complaining about tire punctures. It's like, dude, I haven't gotten a puncture in a year, you know? And it's like, yeah, I don't ride as much as those guys, but I'm riding single track on my gravel bike, and like there's pretty good tires available out there. And it's like, maybe don't race your little, like, the lambskin, 120-gram tire on the day.
Also my nickname in high school. We
Yeah.
haven't had a good tubeless debate in a while. Doesn't it feel like we're due for some sort of techie debate?
Well,
Where
I
it's
think
like
it's coming into
tubeless or
now.
carbon or narrow bars or something. It feels like we're on the edge of really having a good argument that splits the cycling community over technology.
Well, it was hooked versus hookless already.
Yeah, that seems like that one is just put on a simmer the last year, because that was getting a lot of activity. But I haven't heard a lot of hookless debate recently.
Yeah, I think, what's his name?
Tariffs? Maybe we can argue some tariffs?
There we go.
All right. The season's still young.
Oh, I'm sorry. You hate freedom?
This is the freedom portion of the show.
Yeah.
I'll put some American flags in the edit.
Yeah, after President Trump saw the results of yesterday and saw that Primož Roglič was losing to a Mexican, he immediately gave Primož full refugee status here.
Yeah, that's right. Let him come in.
Yeah.
Let him come in. Let him work with at Tesla.
Tesla.
Yeah. Okay, so we had the winners of the Giro so far. I also have the losers of the Giro so far. All right, first one, I'm starting out hot. Tom Pidcock, to me, is the loser of the Giro so far. Did he try for 2 stages already? Like, he tried legitimate yesterday. There was another one somewhere. I don't think he's shown a lot yet, so I'm willing to say not determined yet, but I'm going to say Pidcock loser of the Giro so far.
I mean, if he went in thinking he was going to be a contender for DC, then yeah, for sure. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's doing tour prep.
Okay.
But we'll see if he races the whole 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay, next loser of the Giro so far. Neutralized stages. We had that one stage where it was raining and someone crashed, and the Peloton did the thing where basically they all rode together for like, an hour or something? Yeah. And they were doing the great like rider thing where they're riding next to the car and they're talking to the race referee, and then whatever the referee says, they just go,
nope.
Nope. I'm like, what are these conversations? The neutralized stage, I think, is a loser of the Giro so far.
Yeah, I mean, part of it, again, comes down to there's really good tires out there. And you see these guys like skidding and sliding with it. And maybe it really was that bad, but I mean, I don't know. I wish it's like they race Formula One cars in those conditions, So.
I think the fact that the riders know they can neutralize a stage almost at any time makes me a little edgy, because they're like, okay, how much? All right, it's windy. You guys want to neutralize it? What rider is going to be like, no? No, they're going to be like, yeah, fuck it, man. Let's just cruise.
Right.
So that makes me a little nervous all the time when it comes to weather in a Grand Tour, because they're like, hey, all it takes really is the leader's team or the leader to say no, and then they all have to fall in line. Like, I would just like someone to say like, hey, guys, check this out. And he just like goes off the front.
Yeah, like you can neutralize. Yeah, no, for sure. That'd be a good.
Right. Yeah, didn't we have that in the Tour a couple years ago where like it was the first or second stage and it was rainy, and one team was like, guys, let's neutralize. And another team was like, we didn't agree to this. And they just started riding the front all super hard.
I hope so. Yeah, it was that team from Portland, I believe.
Yeah, loser. No one likes neutralized stages. I one more loser of the Giro so far. And it's me for being confused by the leader's pink jersey and the purple Ciclamina jersey for the 4th year in a row.
Yep.
I'm like, hey, Mads is still in the jersey. Oh, wait. Was that the jersey? What's the is that the sprint? Is that the combat? What is that jersey? That's me 4 years straight being confused. Why do they make the jersey like that?
Yeah, they should do them more like they should like it should be more of a shirts and skin scenario, if you ask me. And like
a leader's tank top, maybe?
Yeah, or a leader's leaders, sons out, guns out situation.
Yeah, like it's still a jersey, but the sleeves are high. Maybe we could do that. So you could
Reverse
see
jersey, where
revert.
you wear
Oh,
something on your arms and legs, and on the
hmm.
back. And they should, we've had a lot of success in the sweatpant industry, especially the velour sweatpant industry lately, of really announcing the wearer on the backside, on the bottom. So like,
Hmm.
why does he wear a purple jersey when you put on his butt like Juicy Sprinter?
That's not bad. I'm willing to throw that idea out there. Put it on
Like a
the
hundred,
dry
a hundred
regular.
percent GC bitch,
Hmm. Not
and
bad.
there's no confusion.
What about this too? As long as we're throwing out ideas, what about a loser's jersey? Like whoever like had the worst stage the day before gets to wear a loser's jersey the next day, and like we could call it like the P Diddy jersey, or like give it a name of somebody that is bad in society currently, because it could change. We could change it every year, you know.
It's like a promo tee from any movie Russell Brand's been in or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, we could call it, whatever. It could be the Roman Polanski jersey. It could be the Diddy jersey. We call it the Epstein jersey,
So,
and it'd be something funny of a novelty that a rider has to wear the day following. Like whoever got last on
yeah.
the stage, or whoever missed their feed, whoever dropped two bottles in the feed or something,
You know what they should just
could
call
get
it?
the Diddy jersey.
The Primo's Roglic jersey.
Oh, wow. Two insults in one. Pretty good. Hey, why isn't our new American Pope making a little Giro appearance yet?
I know. I was actually wondering the same thing. I mean, I don't think.
What
Yeah,
about the
we haven't
Pope
had a
jersey
cycling
while we're at
cycling
it?
in a minute, but
Yeah, we need a Pope jersey.
yeah.
I'd
Well, I
go
mean,
with
back in the day when there was Italian popes, they would all be cycling fans, and usually the Tour and Giro winners would choose
That's
them.
true. Maybe we need an Italian Pope to really
And I
hammer
think
this home.
Colnago he might have even give the other popes. He gave John Paul II a golden
Yeah.
Colnago. He might have even given bikes to the other two, but
There was a lot of Pope association back in the day with the Giro.
yeah.
I
Well, I mean,
remember.
I feel it was so Italian for like the preceding 100 or 150 years or something. Like the Italians had such a stranglehold on the papacy.
Yeah. Remember Marco Pantani famously visited the Pope, and he like came out and he was like, I cleared my conscience. And everybody was like, of what? Like, what were you talking about in there? Yeah, that was, I remember that was a thing. The Pope was associated with cycling a lot more. It used to be. Hmm. All right, well, those are my winners and losers of the Giro so far. So I'm going to give you a little update going into tomorrow, and we'll wrap it up after that. So the GC right now is Isaac Del Toro is up by a minute 13 over his own teammate Ayuso. Primoz Roglic is 225 back in 10th. So I'll just ask the question now. Who's winning the Giro d'Italia?
Honestly, I think it's going to be Ayuso
Really?
because,
You're a team Ayuso, huh?
well, I think he is the has. I mean, while he's quite young as well. I mean, I think his main competition is probably Del Toro right now, and I think that Ayuso is going to do better in the time trial tomorrow, based on, if nothing else, Del Toro doesn't have a lot of time trialing experience. So unless he can just pull a rabbit out of the hat, I think that it's going to be Ayuso. It's going to equalize, if not surpass things tomorrow, or really. And then I think they have a strong. If they can get the team back on board with everyone, I think they can probably manage to defend that.
How much time do you think Del Toro loses tomorrow?
I
He's
mean,
up
it's a pretty,
220. He's up 220. No, he's up a minute 13 over his own
yeah, minute
teammate.
13. So
28
to be
Ks,
honest,
28.6 Ks.
I mean, I don't think he'll lose that. I
I don't
mean,
see him losing more than a minute.
yeah, but
If he has a
still,
great time trial, I don't think he loses more than a few seconds. Worst time
but
trial,
then
I think he loses a minute.
when it's 13 seconds, I mean, and if they're like, hey, we're writing for a USO here, um, because whatever, this is the game plan. Like, I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, let's put you in, let's switch everything to Del Toro and sacrifice a USO with them. It's a 13-second lead. I don't know. I think that the team dynamics will win out if he gets within 13 or 10 seconds Del Toro tomorrow. But maybe the opposite will happen, in which case it'll be Del Toro.
Chance of rain tomorrow in the
Oh.
TT, mostly flat. You think Primoz has a shot of winning this TT?
Oh, absolutely. But
he's kind of my pick.
Yeah.
He already crashed, so he got his crash in. He is best at the first week of these tours, or first half of these tours. Bad conditions, I don't think affect him. So I think Primoz is winning tomorrow. I don't know how much time he's going to take back, but I feel he's got something to prove tomorrow, and tomorrow's a great stage for it.
What's our elevation tomorrow? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I looked at the course profile, and it's just one that has a little bump in the middle of it.
Because sometimes these short ones, man, like a Mads Pedersen type can sometimes. I mean, it's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting length.
Yeah, that 28K is not super duper long. It's certainly not short. It's right in the middle. These guys have 9 stages in, coming off a rest day. The rest day is just the ultimate. Okay, hold on. I'm not betting. I don't know what's up with the rest day. I can't bet on anybody. I don't trust anybody's rest day. So it's going to be very interesting tomorrow to see how everybody responds coming off of rest day and a hard day, and now GC shakeup. Ooh.
You know what? This is a well-designed Giro, I must say.
Oh, wow. Dan International Dowling gives the Giro the Giro his blessing.
So shout out to the Pope.
Yeah, right. How long till everybody just starts dressing up as the Pope here in America? I've already seen it in stadiums where people are dressed in the Pope garb in the stands.
My buddy Parnell and I were hosting an open mic at the Glendale Room for a couple of years, and we called it the Two Popes mic because I got obsessed with weird old Pope art.
I thought it was weird when you guys took up a collection in the middle of that mic.
Well,
every mic is different, so I didn't. I gave you $1.
Forgive you, but not for free, But we're gonna see that for sure.
Was that the one where you made everybody be clean?
What's that?
Was that the one where you made everybody be clean?
Yeah,
you gave a disclaimer.
Oh, that one. No, we tried a few times. The open mic world. It was. What we're going for was clean open mic, which is literally just try not to summon the ghost of Hitler or something like that.
Yeah. Well, did you do that why did you do that? Because it was a mic that was in the middle of the day. It was kind of on the side of a shopping mall.
I think because
or you just wanted to have a clean mic.
I think when we started, we didn't, and then we had some people come in and make really grotesque child animal associated things.
Animal associated. Wow.
I mean, I don't even want to go into if anyone who's ever been to a comedy open mic knows the depravity that people somehow think are going to be a successful joke. And we were like, this is horrible. Because it is. It was a day mic on a promenade, and people would come in, and it would be nice to have an audience, and then you'd have some psychopath.
Okay, so you put some thought into it. That's good.
Yeah.
I would like to see somebody have a dirty only mic as just sort of a counterpart. No one's ever attempted that. To be this is a raunchy mic. Everybody has to be raunchy.
So you haven't watched Kill Tony yet?
Well, that's true. I have watched it. I've been on it. I got on it a few times.
Oh
yeah,
in
yeah.
LA?
3 times. Yeah, in LA. Andrew Santino said my hands were overly tan, and he called me tan hands. I was that
comedy
guy.
gold.
Yep. I remember he called me tan hands. And late at night, this was back when I parked blocks down from the comedy. Remember, the Comedy Store was on a hill, and I would park down the hill, down Sweetser Avenue. It's 12 at night. I walk all the way down the hill to my car, and I'm crossing a street, and a car lays on the horn as I'm crossing, and just a huge blaring honk honk. Guy sticks his head out the window and goes, "Hey, tan hands." And I was like, what? I couldn't even enjoy. He gave me the thumbs up. He was like, "tan hands." But I couldn't even enjoy the shout out because I was so confused being in the middle of the street, this guy honking at me, but he yelled out "tan hands" at me from the show.
That's pretty good. I mean, that is actually pretty high praise for what a lot of people get on that show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Could have gotten a lot worse. I just got called tan hands.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. He could have done really well and ended up at the Republican National Convention.
Right. Well, maybe as an opener or something. Well, like Isaac Del Toro is in the jersey. Ayuso, teammate. I got tan hands. Maybe this is a vote for us darkies.
Finally, I know my us.
Us,
You and
Dan,
me, man.
Dan Padilla. That's right. Just a couple of Mexican dudes hanging out watching the Giro.
Couple of indigenous.
Couple of indigenouses right here.
Indigenous, yeah.
Right. Nice. Well, this has been the Giro recap in our preparation for our tour extravaganza down the road. We're gonna do a couple more of these before the Giro's over.
Yeah, this is
Talk
great.
about the drama. So, Dan Dowling, international Dan Dowling, for me, Patrick Ramirez, stage 10 tomorrow or 11? Stage 10 tomorrow.
Yeah.
TT. Will
Not
Isaac
TT.
Del Toro hold the jersey? We'll find out. Dan Dowling, thank you.
Patrick, gracias.